and here we are again.
Hi, I'm Leo.
And this is class 4 of our complete beginners series, and we're going to be going through a few poses today to help you to build your strength and your flexibility.
Okay, so we're going to start in a standing position, and we're working a little bit on the forward bending actions. We've touched on those in previous videos that we've done, and we'll just go over a few of the main points in those.
Okay, so we're going to start with Prasarita Padottanasana, which is extended, wide-legged, forward bend action. So we're going to need, or you will need, to have a couple of supports. A chair is possible as well to put your hands onto. So you start in Tadasana, and then you can take the legs wide apart. So Leo's going to explain this.
Alright, so you can step the feet. If you've got a knee, hip or back problem, always a good idea to step the feet apart. If you're fine in those departments, you can jump your feet. Make sure that you end up with a nice wide stride with the feet more or less underneath your hands, and the toes need to point directly forwards.
So you can see here it's quite strong on the legs. The legs are extended, and you've got to find those inner ankles again. So we've already mentioned this instruction. So sharpen your outer foot bones and lift those inner ankles to lift that inner leg right up. And lift through the pelvis, through the front body, and open your chest. So when you hinge forward in this pose, you have to see that you keep forward with an open chest and a concave spine. So extend forward. Now sometimes when you just take the hands straight to the floor as a complete beginner, if you stiffen the hips, then what happens is the back does something like this. It does a very good job. You have to get out of that position, it's bad for you. So when you extend forward, you've got to lift up, chest up, and keep that action. And this is why we put these two bricks here. You can use books or whatever you have hanging around that you can take your hands onto. Just make sure they're the same heights. And when you're in this position, see that you work your legs even more. And so you've got to see that you push your thigh bones back into the back legs, and see that you lift your abdomen and lengthen through the front body to the chest. So these are just simple instructions to start with. If you can keep and maintain all of that, then you can turn the bricks down. Keep the chest absolutely open and see that you reach with the tailbone back. So you're getting this action with the tailbone. So you're lengthening, 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 lengthening. And from that, anchoring of the tailbone, you have to see that you lengthen through the whole of the front body. You may be able to take down the hands again to the floor. And doing this is absolutely fine, but you have to make sure that the back's nice and straight. And of course, the classic pose eventually is taking the hands between the feet and resting the head to the floor. As complete beginners, we're going to just come to this stage, and later on, we're showing you the complete action of the classic pose. So once you've been here for a little while, just keep that extension through the legs. If you find it difficult to come up through the abdominal lift, then you can pivot your feet in a little bit. And this will make it a little bit easier. Remembering to draw the abdomen through the front body, through the anterior spine, and lifting up. Bringing the legs together, standing Tadasana, and roll the shoulders back and down. So just find your space, find your breath, be aware of your grounded action in your feet. The arms completely release down, and just enjoy taking a few breaths, a few deeper inhalations and exhalations. And just quieten the facial features. Try not to grip the teeth, just let the jaw release. So I'm just going to talk about our next pose, which is Uttanasana. It's quite an extreme forward bending action, and in the classic pose, it's practiced with the legs together. But today, we're going to practice it with the feet just hip width apart. If you're really stiff and you find these forward hinges really difficult, then of course you can take the feet a little bit wider still. But we're going to take the feet hip width apart, same actions with the legs. You have to see that you learn that grounded action from the base. Sharpen the outer heel bones and lift those inner ankles up. Lift through the front body, roll your shoulders back and down. So sometimes you can work the arms extended up into Urdhva Prasarita just to create that length. But to begin with, you have to learn the hinging action first. So lift out of the pelvis. You see Leo's hands on her frontal pelvic hips, and this is really a good thing. You have to see that you lift up and above those hands. So extend forward. Sometimes we put blankets in this area just to get that initial understanding of scooping the abdomen back towards the spine. Take your hands to your bricks, so be in this position. So when your hands are onto the bricks, again, you've got to be sure that you anchor your tailbone, you've got to reach it towards, away from the spine side. Keep the lift through the front body, and if you can keep this action, the legs nice and strong, pulling up at the kneecaps, pulling up at the thighs, see that you take the blocks a little bit lower. Keep that action. And lower still, if you can take your fingertips to the floor, then do so. So don't hold back. Only hold back if you know that the action of the spine is being compromised and you're actually making a funny shape. As you can see, Leo's making that funny shape here. We don't want to be doing that to our spine. We want to get a nice energy going through the whole of the back body. You'll be here for a few moments. And when you come up, see that you ground down through the legs, lift the abdomen and extend up into a standing position. Good. And come back to your Tadasana, so feet together. Just take a few breaths in this standing pose. Be aware of where your weight is in your standing pose. Be sure that you're weighting back into your heels so you ignite those legs and the legs are lifted nicely. I'm going to talk a little bit about Parivrtta Trikonasana now. This is a reverse triangle pose. So I think in one of our first videos we showed Trikonasana. This is a reverse angle of this. It's very challenging for a beginner to do, but we've got some tips here that we can help you with the alignment of the pose, and gradually you'll get rid of the props and you'll be able to practice this with your body once you've unfolded a little. So as you can see, Leo's here getting ready. She's put her feet onto the foam block. This isn't always necessary. You can use this if you feel that the stability is a little bit difficult and the lift of the legs is difficult to get. So taking your right leg forward. Good. So in our previous video, we talked about Parivrtta. We're going to come from that pose. So hinge forward, so you know those actions of extending through the front body and hinge. We talked a little bit about how the back leg should work, so ground back with that back heel strongly and keep the length throughout the front body. Now this is the tricky bit. You have to make sure you're nice and stable. The back leg is pushing back, back thigh bone pushing into the back of the thigh. And now you're going to see if you can start to revolve, taking your right hand onto the sacral area here. Just pause for a moment and roll the shoulder back. This is challenging. Now, if you can take this lower hand to the outer side of the leg, then reach it back. So be sure that you bring the brick so it's in line with the center of the shin. You can see here, Leo showing you here. Now, if you don't need the brick, then you can take your hand to the floor. This is quite a challenging action. Push back into your heel, and again, you may not need this foam block. We're just showing you ways of creating slightly better symmetry and alignment to be able to come into the pose. So you've got to see that you rotate that shoulder back, rotate. Now, if you're able to take the arm up at this stage, it's another challenging action, then take the arm up and you can turn the head to look at the palm. So it may be that this comes a little later. So I'm not going to keep you in this pose too long. So taking the hand back down and then slowly coming up. Okay, so you might wobble a bit in this pose, but actually the more you do it, the more you practice it, then it gets better and better. It's such a fantastic pose for the hips and the outer thighs. It's wonderful for the pelvis. I love this pose.
I'm learning to love it.
Okay, so
we're in the middle of a difficult relationship.
So taking the left leg forward. Yeah. And again, you're going to see that you get your stability first, ground back into your back leg and lift up out of the pelvis. As you can see all of these actions, Leo's got this opening in her collarbones and the upper body working really nicely. And this needs to be ascending through the anterior spine as you hinge forward. So coming forward. Good. stability, push back into the legs strongly, remembering that you've got to see that you lengthen this tailbone. If you don't understand this action at this moment in time, don't worry about it. It will come, definitely. And lengthening through the spinal column and lifting the chest. Good. Now we're going to come into that reverse action. So you're going to take your left hand onto your sacral area. So there's this big bone here where Leo's got her hand. And see that you extend and rotate the shoulders so nicely. Yes, good. And now if you've still got your balance, and this is going really well, draw the abdomen deeply towards the spine, pull up with the legs, push down with the heels, and now take your right hand to the outer side of your left thigh. And remember what I said about the brick? You're going to bring it in. Or you may be taking your hand to the floor, if that's the case, or turning the brick. That's another good way of working and getting this action, getting this rotation. So just being aware that you grip in these hips really strongly, these outer hips, so that it gives you that fulcrum to extend. We have a saying, it's a bit like squeezing the bottom of the toothpaste. You've got to see that you grip in so everything else extends. So keep that balance, keep the breath going, smooth and even, and then very slowly releasing the arm up if you can, turning the head. Yeah. The challenging pose, but very good for beginners if you can come to this pose, or just part of it, and it's worth practicing and releasing. And then coming up into a standing position. Good. And standing in your Tadasana. Spreading your toes and just taking a few breaths. As we did before, just after each pose, it's really nice to digest some of the actions in the body. So we don't have to be in this position too long, but just enough time to settle the breath. And remember, every time you settle the breath, it settles the nervous system.
Yes, again, it's a good pose to come back to after you've been in quite a challenging standing pose. You can feel the spine elongating and lengthening, and the weight really moves back into the heels here.
Yeah, and it's very important to root yourself down. This gives you tremendous stability, not only on the mat, but also in your everyday life. So we're going to come for the floor work now. So we're going to show you what you're going to be doing. It's firstly, we're going to come into a pose called Supta Tadasana, so very similar to the standing position, with extension of the arms above the head.
We have got a bolster here because if you have difficulties in your shoulders, it may be better for you to take your hands onto a support. If you haven't got a bolster, you can always use a pillow, but some of you won't need to use this support at all. First of all, reclining back with the legs bent. Just move my hairband out of the way. And then, with resistance, scraping the heels away from you.
Okay, so I just want to mention when you lie down in yoga, you have to make sure that the lower back is comfortable. So it might be that you have to make another adjustment just to lengthen the tailbone towards your heels. Sometimes people lie down and they have this discomfort and catching compression in the lower back. It needs to be adjusted. There shouldn't be any discomfort when you lie down. So coming to this straight leg position, as you can see, it's very similar to the standing position. So just feel that action, the legs really nice and straight, the thighs grounding down, the extension into your heels, and lift out of your pelvis as well. You have to see from that leg action that you're lengthening out of the pelvis. And now we're going to take the arms above the head. And some of you may find this quite challenging because although you may think arms over the head, the arms may not reach the floor behind you. And if this is the case, it's no good just letting them wave about in the air. You can see here, I'm going to just show you with this bolster that you can actually just rest them on here. Well, it's not actually resting, but it's giving them some sort of direction and awareness. It's no good just dangling in your stiffness. That's no good. All right, so Leah doesn't need this, so she's going to extend the arms away.
Something that I would just say in this pose that we see in classes is that because we've got a distance for the arms to go to, if your lumbar spine is a little over flexible, we sometimes see people doing that, which is popping the ribs up. So you've got to keep aware of the fact that the ribs need to stay quiet and the shoulders need to do the work.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And you can be in this pose. It's really nice extension throughout the body, from the fingertips to the heels, from the heels to the fingertips. Really nice to extend the action, and it leads us towards our next pose, which is Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. And this is really good for abdominal strength. So some of you may need to have a belt with this, so don't suffer in silence and think that the legs are too heavy to lift up into the 90-degree angle. So Leo's going to demonstrate this pose now. You can see she's got her belt. You can use a tie or a bit of rope, whatever you've got handy, or even a towel actually. I've come into this position when I first started yoga and just used a towel around the soles of the feet, and it worked really well. Now you can see here for Leo, she's got her legs at 90 degrees. She's softening the abdomen. Remember, softness brings you strength. Moving the abdomen towards your spine. If there's no flexibility there, then actually there's no direction, and you can see the legs go to here. Just be there, just hold it as long as there's no pain in the back. This is absolutely fine, and gradually you will take the legs to 90. The other problem here, also with the stiffness in the sacrum, is that the buttocks might lift off the floor. Now, if that's the case, if these buttocks lift off the floor, oops, wrong problem. Hang on, got it right. Just lift the buttocks. You might want to just place the buttocks on a folded blanket, or if you've got a yoga foam block, then that will be absolutely fine to do. So what we want to do, we're not teaching the classic pose as such here, but we're just introducing some of the core stability work. So if you can, I'm going to take this out because she doesn't actually need this. If you can let go of the belt, then do so. Just leave it dangling there, that's fine. And now the arms come back to where you were previously, taking your arms above your head. And reach so much into the fingers, so much. And extend the thighs away from the abdomen. So not the whole leg, but just the soft tissue fibre into the bone. And just be here for 20, 30 seconds if it's possible. If it's too much, don't overstrain. Take hold of your belt or whatever you are using.
This is not a good action if your legs are lower than 90 degrees. If they're lower than 90 degrees, you'll need to hold onto your belt. And it may be that just putting your feet against the wall when you start, if your legs are tight at the back, putting your heels to a wall is a good way to work. And gradually, over time, I know because my legs were here when I started in yoga, because I had tight hamstrings. So over time, you can get the legs up to 90 degrees, and then you'll be able to let go of the belt.
And to come out of the pose, just bend the knees into the chest and place the feet to the floor. And then just roll to your right side and come into a seated position.
I have to say, I quite liked lying there with my legs bent, so you could have a nice little shavasana lying there with your legs bent.
Yes.
For a few minutes.
Yeah, don't be in a rush to get up. Thank you for watching our latest video. Please do, if you liked our video, tick the like button.
Yes, and you can subscribe to our channel by clicking on the subscribe channel button. And if you're interested in doing a more structured form of yoga, look at our website, myyogatutor.com.
Thank you for watching. Namaste.
Namaste.